This is the OTP, and ladies and gentlemen, it is game week. It feels so good to just be a couple days away from week one of the regular season. The Tennessee Titans will be taking on the Denver Broncos in Denver at Mile High Stadium. Kickoff for that game is 3:05 Central Time. You do not want to miss it. So to get us ready for the big event, I am joined by Titans Radio's very own Taylor Zarzour and Will Boling, both of whom will be in Denver covering the game from start to finish. So anything you could want to know about this upcoming matchup, these two have it on lock. So you were a natural fit to be on the OTP. Really, you didn't have a choice.
Well, we're honored to be here. And when can I start eating this snickerdoodle?
Well, thank you for asking. We now have a designated cookie break. It's written in my notes.
Oh, fantastic.
Cookie break. Christy Cookie is providing us the cookies for our cookie break. We're really excited to be partnered with them this year because I do everything that I possibly can to make sure that the OTP is partnered with as many snacks as possible.
Outstanding.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, so I try to get you guys set up. We've got Snickers. We've got 8th and Rose coffee. As you can see, we've got cookies. Whatever you need to get you through this 35 to 45-minute experience here, we make sure you guys are taken care of.
We are grateful
Love
for
it.
it.
I love it.
But yeah, there really is a designated cookie break, so you guys just hang on to your hats. It's
Okay.
coming.
I can't wait for that.
Before we get to the cookie break, however, we need to talk some Titans football because there's a lot of things going on as this team gets ready for week one. And I want to run through some of the headlines because we're starting to see this roster, obviously it's just a couple days out, really take shape in terms of what the depth chart is going to look like, how things are going to be shaking out when the Titans actually line up against the Broncos. Couple of things that have caught people's attention, so I want to get your thoughts on it. Elic Ayomanor taking the top of the depth chart. He is obviously not above the Calvin Ridleys of the world, Tyler Lockett, of course, but he is going to be playing a significant amount of football when we get to Denver. And Brian Callahan talked about it and said, essentially, he earned it. I mean, they couldn't justifiably not put him in that position. Taylor, you've seen a lot of football. He's someone that every single practice he stands out.
Yeah, I feel bad for Will because I've been just heaping praise on this guy since training camp started. I sort of made him my guy,
Sure.
if you will. And he's 6'2", 206 pounds. I guess when he really caught my eye is a lot of people watched the Stanford-Colorado game last year, and this guy torched Travis Hunter last year. I mean, like, we're just being honest, he torched him. And ever since that game, I've really wanted to see what Ayomanor was going to do at the next level. And I think that I was calling an SEC golf tournament in Sea Island, Georgia. I was with you guys for the first round of the draft, and then I went to call this golf tournament. And I'm following along on my phone, and then I see like an alert, Titans select Elic Ayomanor in the fourth. And I'm like, he's still available?
Right.
I couldn't. I was in
100%.
shock, and I like on the air, I'm like fist pumping because I couldn't believe that he was still available. And, man, he has been awesome. Through the first, certainly throughout training camp, and I'm not surprised that he is listed on the first team on the depth chart. Now, I do think that Dike and Van Jefferson and Bryce Oliver are all going to play. You will see each of them have a chance to catch a football against the Denver Broncos, but that's pretty meaningful to be listed as a starter in your first game.
It really is. And I think Elic, Brian Callahan said it this week, there's been a level of consistency that he's shown on the practice field. I think where Elic took a step was in the middle of that 10-day trip away for joint practices with Tampa and Atlanta. And you started to see him go from, all right, I've got chemistry with Brandon Allen. I'm working with a lot of the younger players. I'm going up against younger, more inexperienced corners. He started to then turn a corner and show some of those same things with Cam Ward. And I think that's where things really start to get real for him, becoming a starter. He's such a versatile player, too. I mean, he can play in the inside. He can play outside. But I feel like the coaching staff really likes how quickly his game has acclimated to the NFL level because he is showing his quote-unquote testing speed, just talking to people on the field pretty immediately. And they feel like he is not thinking. That's one of the biggest things with a lot of these rookie players is, can you show me in shoulder pads and a helmet what you showed me at the NFL Combine? Can you show me that same level of speed and explosiveness? Elic Ayomanor is checking a lot of those boxes.
Sticking with the rookie vibe, I guess, Cam Ward obviously is going to be starting for this Titans team. Everyone's excited to watch him get his first couple of shots, as a quarterback in the National Football League. And he said something interesting. He was asked his goals when he spoke to the media, like, what are you trying to accomplish this season? It's a very nebulous question, but fair. And he said, I just want to win a lot of football games. And I think that there was something about that answer that, while it seems very like, well, duh, it also seems like a pretty good bar to set as a rookie player who doesn't know what he doesn't know yet. It feels like a really good answer, or a mature answer in my mind, to say, look, I'm not going to be able to give you numbers or stats or anything tangible that I really want to do. What I want to do is help this team win football games. Does that feel like, am I crazy that it feels mature, it feels level-headed, it feels kind of the cool, calm, collected, what we expect to see out of Cam Ward?
No, I mean, I think you're totally right, and I think it's everything Cam Ward is about just as a human being. It's everything that he's been, at 3 different stops in college. We talk about how coaches can be program builders. Cam Ward is a program builder. And the second he walked in that locker room, I think everybody kind of perked up a little bit and the shoulders go back. And it's when he talks, people listen. And I think ultimately that is why, with all the options that Mike Bergonzi and Chad Brinker and this organization had at the NFL draft, that's why you draft Cam Ward.
Right.
To reset that standard, reset that expectation. So, yeah, I think rookie quarterbacks, the way you measure success is in moments of situational play, whether it's a 2-minute drive at the end of a half. It's the complex, can you go from doing pre-algebra to calculus in real time against NFL defenses? It's, can you take us on a game-winning drive on the road in a raucous atmosphere? It's those flashes that you want to see from Cam Ward. It's what I want to see. It's what these fans want to see. And my goodness, it is really impressive, the amount of belief and the amount of trust that he has earned within that locker room in a really short amount of time.
It's well said. I love college football, and I love calling college football. I do not love the transfer portal, Amie, and I don't love these guys that have played for 3 and 4 teams. By and large, I don't think that has a really good impact on team unity and college football as a whole. Having said that, I think Cam Ward is an outlier. Cam Ward going from Incarnate Word to Washington State to Miami, I think has prepared him to play for the Tennessee Titans. This guy immediately went to Washington State, and he ran that locker room, and he ran that team, and the moment was not too big for him. If you watch the Miami Hurricanes play the Florida Gators in the Swamp last year, in a raucous environment, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to Denver, it'll be an awesome atmosphere. It'll be as loud as it was in the Swamp last year for Miami and Florida. That guy was ready for the moment, and it was because of some of the stops he had been to along the way that prepared him for the moment. I think all of these life experiences have helped Cam Ward realize, man, I just love football and I want to win, like you said. Now, the level of player that is on the field in Denver, Colorado will be greater than anything he's ever seen before. And that only comes with more and more experience for him to be more and more comfortable. But I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. I think he'll be ready for it.
When you bring Hellman's Creamy Buffalo Chicken Dip to the watch party, you can cheer too loud, or block the TV, or be a couch coach, and no one will eject you from the game. That's a Hail Mayo. Hellman's, the official mayo of the Tennessee Titans. This summer, SeatGeek has your ticket to the best live concerts in Nashville at Nissan Stadium. SeatGeek makes it easy to catch world-conquering tours and high-wattage performances from your favorite artists all summer long. SeatGeek has the best seat, your seat, for an unforgettable summer. From rock royalty to rap superstars, R&B to country, find it all on SeatGeek, the official ticketing partner of Nissan Stadium. It's your summer. Make it count. SeatGeek. Hey Titans fans, with a Kroger Boost membership, you'll score big with double fuel points, free delivery, and lots more. Go to Kroger.com/boost for details. Kroger, the official grocer of the Tennessee Titans. Tighten up. The theme has been young guys, so this guy's not a rookie, but Cedric Gray, second-year player, he has made it to the top of the depth chart, starting opposite Cody Barton at inside linebacker. Exciting for him after we saw him kind of struggle with injury in his rookie year. He was a guy that I was really watching as we went through the offseason program because I wanted to see if he was going to be able to do what we thought he was going to be able to do all along. And man, watching him play through the preseason, that guy wanted to play football, and he was going to show you exactly what he could do. Think it's going to be a great addition. Your thoughts?
Cedric Gray is like if Frank Bush and Dennard Wilson built in a lab a young linebacker for their system. He is a runaway freight train in the gap, stopping the run. I think you can't go to the University of North Carolina and also not be a smart football player and a smart human being.
Boy, they'd like him right now.
Yes,
yeah.
I think
Holy
they would.
Cow.
I remember talking to his linebackers coach right after he'd gotten drafted last year on my radio show, and him expressing like this guy could be the green dot guy immediately if he needed to be. And injuries obviously kept him from really earning that opportunity last year. And now you have Cody Barton and you have a wealth of experience there. But Cedric Gray is playing fast. He is playing free. That is what Frank Bush and Dennard Wilson want from their inside linebackers. And it's because the game has slowed down for him mentally to now he's not thinking. I feel like that's my theme of the day. Like young guys that are starting to not think about what they're doing, they're just doing it. And I'll never forget, I talked to him for Titans Radio's locker room report in Tampa. And I asked him that for the postgame interview, led the team in tackles. He was the guy I talked to and said, how much is the game slowing down for you? And it's like he just switched from this competitive, I'm in the zone mindset, and just gave me this biggest smile of like, you wouldn't even imagine. You could not believe how different things are for me. And I really believed that, and you're seeing it on the field, that difference in him.
Well, and you talked about the performance he had against Tampa in that first preseason game. I would argue he was as good, if not better, against the Falcons, and as good, if not better, against the Vikings. And Coach Callahan talked about it earlier this week, Amie. The reason he is first on the depth chart is because of in-game performance. You won't hear coaches often say that about the preseason, but he is one of the few guys that really elevated his status, literally, by the way he played in the preseason. And that's why you'll see him play a significant role. My man, Rhett Bryan, is seated to my right, sometimes standing, depending on the situation, in the booth for the Titans radio broadcast, and he was pointing at Cedric Gray's name time and time again as the man that had the tackle, and I expect Mr. Bryan to be pointing at his name on Sunday.
Absolutely. I think that's a pretty good, what's the word I'm looking for? Prediction?
Yes.
Yes, I think that's a pretty good prediction. I made a mistake, too. I was trying to lump all the rookies together. I left somebody who's making some headlines off, and that's Chimere Dike. Seeing him a lot, prepare to see him a lot on Sundays. I'm making Taylor do a lot of flipping on his big board. Chimere Dike is someone we're going to see involved a lot in special teams, whether it's as the return man for punts or for kicks. He's going to be all over the place and a huge part of the Titans' special teams efforts, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that you just said it. And look, he was the kind of guy that could make a big play at Florida and suddenly flip the field. And it wouldn't surprise me if he would do that again in the National Football League. I say Florida. I mean, he did it at Wisconsin, too. I mean, he's very used to making a big difference in special teams. The guy can fly. Now, Bryce Oliver is kind of seen as the gunner.
Right.
Steve Tasker, if you go old terms of the Buffalo Bills, was like one of the all-time great gunners. And Bryce Oliver is kind of turning into that for the Titans. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see Dike on the opposite side of Bryce Oliver, running down, trying to tackle the other team's punt returner on Sunday as well. But that's and as much as we talk about the quarterback, and rightfully so, and the skill players, and who's going to try to get after the quarterback, special teams for the Titans look significantly improved. They've got a big-time coach there in Bones Fossil and John Bones Fossil. And with the way Joey Sly's kicking, the way new punter Johnny Hecker is punting, and some of the moves they made in special teams, that's a hidden part of the game.
It is, and for Denver last year, as we kind of look at what makes them so good, they were top 3 in the NFL in both average starting field position for their offense and their defense. So a lot of hidden yardage, and the altitude maybe playing a little bit part of that as well, with how high that they can punt the football on a new Australian punter as well for Denver. So a little bit of a different style there. Actually, a punter that Chimere Dike would know well because they were teammates at Florida together. So if there's anybody that he knows what the football looks like coming off their foot, it's the Denver punter, who is also a rookie from Florida. But Chimere Dike just under 20 yards per punt return last year against SEC special teams units and SEC defenses. You both know, that's a lot of 4- and 5-star freshmen and sophomores on SEC teams that maybe aren't ready to play linebacker or safety in the 2 deep or in the top line of the depth chart. There's a lot of 5-star blue chip talent that cuts their teeth in special teams, and Chimere Dike was slicing through that talent last year at Florida.
That's a lot of what is being talked about around the facility. Here are some things that are not being talked about as much that I felt it was important to also mention. And the first one is Brian Callahan in his second year as a play caller. I feel like we've talked so much about his second year as a head coach. We've talked, just crazy amounts of the roster and all the turnover and the systems and feeling more comfortable in that. We have not talked about the fact that Brian Callahan in 2024 was a brand new head coach and a first-time play caller.
Yeah.
That is a tremendous amount of stuff to figure out and to manage. And he did it very well. I mean, there wasn't a point where he was like way in the weeds and couldn't handle all of this and all of that. But there has to be a level of comfort for him, for the coaching staff as a whole, for this whole team to realize that, like, okay, this isn't new. Okay, we can slide back into something familiar. Am I crazy in thinking that that is a bigger deal than maybe what everyone else is talking about?
No, I think it's absolutely a big deal. And I think, too, Amie, one of the things that Brian has emphasized this offseason is wanting to be more involved with the defense. What does that look like on game day? What kind of conversations is he having with different coaches? Does that mean there is more of a say from offensive coordinator Nick Holtz or quarterbacks coach Bo Hardigree there on the sideline? I think it's a big conversation and talking point. I also think it's interesting how much this offense changes schematically to fit Cam Ward's strengths. They've talked about this throughout the offseason as well, the offensive coaching staff, that in Cincinnati, Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan wanted that to be year 3 at LSU for Joe Burrow. They want this to look a little bit maybe like year 2 at Miami for Cam Ward.
Yeah.
What does that mean for Tyler Lockett and the way he's deployed? What does that mean for Elic Ayomanor and Van Jefferson and, of course, wide receiver 1 and Calvin Ridley? So all of that, it feels like a new slate and a new rhythm and routine for Brian, calling a different kind of scheme. I mean, the principles still feel the same, but I think we're going to see a lot of differences to make Cam Ward feel comfortable in the system.
Yeah, and I think that's a great observation by Amie, too, about having a guy that wasn't calling plays for the Cincinnati Bengals. Brian Callahan was the offensive coordinator there, but Zach Taylor, very similar to the way Brian Callahan is doing it here, he was the guy calling those plays. Brian was very involved with the install, obviously, in the creation of the plays, but not the actual calling of them. And that takes some getting used to, getting used to just kind of the rhythm of the game. I think also when you have an uber-confident quarterback like Joe Burrow, like Cam Ward,
right,
I think it really helps the way you call a game. And I think that Brian Callahan has the benefit of having an uber-confident quarterback and a guy that doesn't have a memory either. You know, Cam Ward, if you've watched him play football in the last few years, he'll make a mistake. He's not afraid to throw into traffic. But he also doesn't remember that mistake.
Right.
And that's the greatest part about being a play caller, is being able to know, all right, I don't have to think about the fact that the last time we called this, he made a mistake and he's still thinking about that. I think most people in life would remember that. And you would say, I can't do that because I can tell he's going to think about what we did the last time we could draw up any play here,
sure,
but, we got verticals on both sides of the field. And the last time he threw the left side of the field verticals, on a deep ball, he threw an interception. Cam's not going to care about that.
Home is at the forefront of all we do. It's why we're so committed to caring for the places and spaces in which we work and live. Ashley, the official furniture provider of the Tennessee Titans. Genesis is the first and only official jeweler of the Titans, having earned that title since 2006. Titans players, coaches, and fans trust Genesis for the absolute best in selection, quality, customer service, and of course, value. For diamonds, engagement rings, designer fashion jewelry, and the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in Tennessee, Genesis is the hands-down winner. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
And I think that that's something to keep in mind. But you're right, Amie. It's a good observation.
On the defensive side of the ball, I also feel like we're not talking enough about all of the people who are returning to the Titans defense and how just overwhelmingly excited they are to play a football game. Another flip for you.
We need a flip counter on the top left corner of the screen.
Do. And I think it all starts with Dennard Wilson. He is so ready to get this team out there and like line up against someone else and just hit him in the mouth. He is so ready. And that passion is trickling down to the Jeffrey Simmons, to the Arden Keys, to the Cody Bartons, to, Jarvis Brownlee, Sebastian Joseph Day, all of these guys who are healthy, who are ready to play some football and are ready to like be able to actually really hit somebody. I think that is something we're not talking about enough because that excitement, that passion, that energy is something that I haven't seen from a defensive side of the ball in a long time. They are fired up and ready to go and, just make a statement about who the Titans are in 2025. And I just haven't heard people talking about that the way that I expected. Do you think that's a real thing?
I think it's fair, and I think it starts with a very big man up front who is not as big as he used to be, named Big Jeff.
Yes.
I think a lot of times in training camp and in preseason, when we talk about guys making changes to their routines and habits and to their frames, I'll admit and let people in on a secret. Sometimes that's because there is nothing else to talk about. Sometimes I think that is because a player is a totally different player. This is the latter. This is a guy who I think fans are going to recognize a major difference in the quickness, the speed to power. I don't think he's giving up anything in the run game in order to be a little bit quicker and more vertical as a pass rusher. I am so excited to see what Jeffrey Simmons looks like. And guys, too, Jeffrey Simmons has a call and response now when he trash talks the offense. It's not just even Cam Ward. I think J.C. Latham has become a little bit more vocal in pushing him. I think this offensive line that feels confident, that feels like it's coming together well, it has challenged and raised the level with Jeff. So, yes, 100%. There's a lot of returning production on this defense that you like. I'm starting up front because I think Jeffrey Simmons sets the table to allow Jarvis Brownlee a year two to be more aggressive, to allow Roger McCreary in a big season for him to be sticky in coverage. The rush and coverage work together, and Dennard Wilson can be aggressive because he knows he's got Big Jeff setting the tone up front.
And for whatever it's worth, he still weighs 305 pounds.
Exactly. He's still big.
He is very
he's still
quick
big, Jeff.
to remind everyone he still weighs over 300 pounds. But you're right. He is. He looks slim. He looks like he is in the best shape of his life. And I think because of that, you can do a little bit more with him.
Right.
It wouldn't surprise me if you saw him on an edge from time to time. I don't think you'll see that throughout the game. But I think in certain packages, you could see him on the edge this year, not just in the interior of the defense. So, yeah, it's going to be a faster team, and I think that suits Dennard Wilson. I think that's the kind of defense he wants to play. I wish Sean Payton didn't know that, but he does know that. And I've listened to him talk about that already this week. The guy, to me, that is the identity of the Dennard Wilson defense is Cody Barton. There are linebackers that are going to be playing in the middle of defenses that you could argue might have a little bit more talent than Cody Barton does across the league, but they don't have more energy. They don't have more selflessness. They aren't more fired up to be on the field than Cody Barton. They're not more prepared than Cody Barton. And I think all those things are going to serve the Titans well. And just one other guy that I've got to mention. We have not talked a lot about him. He's one of the most talented defensive players in the National Football League. I've really liked what I've seen from L'Jarius Sneed in practice the last couple of weeks. And if we get the guy the Kansas City Chiefs had 2 years ago, if that guy is shutting down half of the field on Sundays as the season progresses, watch out. This is a brand new ball game for the Titans defense.
Speaking of defense, I think it's time to check in with Keith Bullock, the ultimate Titans defensive player, linebacker. He has this week's real deal matchup of the game delivered by Little Caesars.
Here's the deal. The matchup I'm most looking forward to on Sunday is Denver Broncos All-Pro reigning defensive MVP corner Patrick Surtain versus Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley has been one of Cam Ward's favorite targets this preseason, and Patrick Surtain is a bona fide lockdown corner. If the Titans offense is to have any success and win this game on Sunday, Calvin Ridley is going to have to play big against the reigning defensive MVP.
Titans fans, get 15% off your Little Caesars order of $15 or more today at participating stores using code TITANS15. That's Titans15 at checkout. Pizza. That excludes taxes and other fees, of course. So just remember that.
I'll remember.
Y'all want to talk a little Denver?
Oh, I thought it was time for the cookie. Okay, no.
It is not time for the cookie yet. We can't have pizza and cookies right next to each other.
Okay.
It's, again,
Yeah, let's talk some Denver
filling
Broncos.
this food with this show with food. I want to talk Denver Broncos because obviously that's who the Titans are playing, but also this is a great challenge for this Titans team coming out and starting this season with a team that's really, really strong. And my question to you is what stands out about this Denver team, but I'm going to go first.
Oh, good.
Because what stands out to me about this Denver team is that they are returning all of their starters on the offensive line. And all of the backups to the starters on the offensive line. It is crazy town, the consistency that they have on this roster. So the question, I guess, associated with that is there anything that stands out to you other than the fact that everybody coming back, it feels like, is a returning starter?
Yeah, I think to me, it kind of piggybacking off of that, I think Denver is as good on both sides of the line of scrimmage together as any team in football. I put them and the Philadelphia Eagles right at the top of that conversation. You talk about league-leading 63 sacks for their defensive front last year. Zach Allen led all defensive tackles in pressure rate. Nick Bonito, who just got rewarded with a new contract, second-round guy, kind of, to make a quick aside to the Titans, what you want Femi Oladejo to turn into. I think he's a really good comp for what Femi Oladejo could be, second-round pick. Really athletic guy, learning curve at the position, but a lot of potential there. They led the league in generating pressure on four-man rushes, meaning that Vance Joseph's defense can play man-to-man on the back end and say, you guys have fun. 7 in the back, 4 rushing. 41% of the time they rushed with 4 men. They got pressure. I'm no Coach Mack. That's easy math to do. That's a really good way to be successful as a defense. And then you look at their offensive line. I mean, they had 3 guys that led the league in pressure rate allowed at their respective position. Left guard to right tackle. 3 different players. 60% of the players who led the league in pressure rate allowed were on the Denver Broncos offensive line. They are monsters in the trenches on both sides.
Yeah, and the thing I would add to that is a lot of these guys are young. It's not like they're on their last leg here or there's a year left. You know, we could probably sit here. This might be more geared towards a Will Boling sports talk show than this show, but we could make an argument that the Kansas City Chiefs are at the end of their run, or they're at least approaching the end of their run.
A lot of them are very old.
And I mean, you've got guys that are about to go get married, and who knows how much more football they're going to play. You can't say that about the Denver Broncos in that same division. And here's one thing that sticks out to me. Is the Tennessee Titans went 3-14 last year, and they were 2-6 in one-score games. We could all sit here and say, if we're being objective, the Titans probably should have been at least a 5 or a 6-win team. Okay, they were 2-6 in one-score games. Do you know what the Denver Broncos were in one-score games?
What?
1-6 in one-score games, and they went 10-7 last year. And to me, that speaks to youth. That speaks to inexperience, not knowing how to finish the game. Well, now they're coming back with almost all of the guys that they had from last year, including a second-year quarterback instead of a rookie. And this is a team that was a lot closer to being a 12 or a 13-win team last year than they were a team out of the playoffs. So I think that this is as tough of an opponent as the Titans will see all year. It does not mean they can't win the game. Crazy things happen in week 1, and the Titans are a significantly improved team from last year. By anybody's measure, they are. But what they're getting in week 1 is the ultimate assignment. I don't think ideally you'd want to play this matchup in week 1, but the good news is that this can be a barometer game for the Tennessee Titans throughout the year of, okay, we know what a championship-level football team is. We just saw it. And I think they're going to see it on Sunday.
Well, you went down the road of Bo Nix, so let's continue down that road. Rookie year. Takes him a minute, but then he ends up really finding his rhythm and ending on a pretty solid note. Where do you hope, I guess not you specifically, where do the Broncos hope to see the improvement in him in year 2?
Yeah, I would say probably the interceptions weren't bad last year. The completion percentage was okay. I think that they'd like to see that improve just a little bit. But honestly, for a first-year player, for a guy that's the 12th pick in the draft last year, I mean, it was a pretty quick transition for him. I would just say more time. Yeah. More time to be in just more and more reps, really. But yeah, maybe the completion percentage could improve just a little bit.
I think Bo Nix earned the right to do a lot more complicated stuff down the stretch last season. And you look at some of the numbers, and Next Gen Stats says that Bo Nix targeted wide receivers behind the line of scrimmage 26% of the time last year. That was the 3rd highest rate in the NFL among any quarterback.
So go downfield more.
Yeah, I think it's that part of it. I think it's finding a secondary guy beyond Cortland Sutton. He had 6 interceptions when targeting Cortland Sutton last season. His old friend from Oregon, Troy Franklin, they expect him to take a major step forward this season. Marvin Mims, the very dynamic returner and now 2-time All-Pro return man, they're using him in kind of a gadget role a little bit differently. But I think if you're looking for spots on this team in Denver that they need to improve in order to be at that championship level, it's got to be wide receiver.
No question.
Evan Ingram is kind of like a big wide receiver.
I was going to say, yeah.
And he has been right at the top of the league in terms of yards by tight ends when lined up in the slot over the past 5 seasons. So I think he is someone that answers a lot of the questions for Bo Nix. And as we know, I mean, young quarterbacks love a tight end and love that safety blanket that they can provide.
But I would just add that, Sean Payton knows he has one of the best, if not the best, defenses in the National Football League.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit careful with how much he turns Bo Nix loose, because he knows this defense, it gives up less than 20. Last year gave up less than 20 points a game. That's a winning formula in the National Football League.
Do the Titans have any sort of advantage given that there is so much new in this team and there's no tape?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like there's nothing.
That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. And I know I just painted the picture of this is the ultimate opponent that the Broncos, that the Titans have in the Broncos. But that is it right there. It's kind of like a new pitcher that's called up for the minor leagues, and you don't know what kind of stuff he throws. I mean, that's it. There's no – Sean Payton's talked about it all week. He's like, I know that Dennard Wilson has not shown me what he is going to do to me in this game on Sunday. So that's one part of it on defense. And then the other part is I don't think that Cam Ward and Brian Callahan in the preseason showed you a lot of what they're going to try to do on Sunday.
They didn't even play that much.
There is no question that Pat Surtain, quite possibly the best cover corner in the NFL, one of them for sure, is going to be matched up on number 0 Calvin Ridley in most cases. But Brian Callahan has known that was going to happen for, 9 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's had 9 months to think of, these are the ways I'm going to get 0 the football in this game. And yes, if Denver was playing the Titans in week 2, I'd be way more concerned than I am in week 1.
Well, and I think, too, this can be a really big Tony Pollard game because we saw just one drive of Tony Pollard in Tampa, and then Brian Callahan and the staff said, all right, you're good. You've had such a good camp. We've seen what we've needed to see. And I know fans have not been able to see a lot of that. I think you're going to see the best of Tony Pollard this year. I think the reworked offensive line is a big reason why. In a game where the opponent led the league in sacks last year, you just can't be in 3rd and 10 plus. You can't be in 3rd and 12 consistently. And to the point about Brian Callahan as a second-year play caller, there is not a play on the play sheet that offensive coordinators are going to like for 3rd and long consistently. If I'm looking for one possible advantage, it's the Titans' run game against Broncos linebackers. That's a big question mark for this team because they've got 2 guys, one of whom I don't know if he's going to play, in Dre Greenlaw, who missed practice this week. He's had a quad injury that's come back up. He's coming off a season-ending injury last year. Alex Singleton is coming off of an ACL injury last year, which was a big reason why Cody Barton was able to earn the contract he got in Tennessee because of the lack of Singleton there. There's a lot of question marks there at inside linebacker for Denver. Still one of the best run defenses in the NFL last year, despite all of that. But if I'm picking it apart a little bit, I think this can be a really big Tony Pollard game.
And I agree. It wouldn't surprise me if we get an early Pinnacle sideline report on Dre Greenlaw and whether he's on the field from Will Boling very early in the game.
Yeah.
You better fire it up, Will. Get ready.
Ready to go.
Get ready. Grab the old clipboard. Are you guys ready for a cookie break?
Oh, yes.
I would love
I
a
know
cookie
that
break.
Taylor's been losing his mind. Christy Cookie
about
is the provider of the cookies for our cookie break. We're going to do this all year long because everybody needs a cookie break. Today, we are having snickerdoodles.
Ooh,
and
I love snickerdoodle.
I know. It's my favorite of the cookies, which is why that's what we are sampling today. Christy Cookie has so graciously agreed to provide us these tasty treats so that we can all just take a little break and enjoy our lives and eat a delicious cookie. If you too want to have a cookie break at your house or at your place of business or just at any point in your day, ChristyCookies.com. They've got everything that you could possibly want, whether it's just yummy cookies for yourself or you want to give them as gifts.
My goodness.
Cookie break for your friends. That's so nice. But yeah, so cheers, guys. Cookie
Cheers.
break.
These
That
are
is
amazing.
really good.
ChristyCookie.com. God, I love snickerdoodles more than any other cookie. You can't tell me otherwise. Although, Christy Cookie, please send us more. We've got a long season ahead of us.
Man,
I
I love you, Christy Cookies.
Yeah, I thought you guys might. I thought you might enjoy this little
That's
addition
terrific.
to our 2025 season. Take a cookie break. Visit ChristyCookie.com for more information and to get your own cookie break. Will, do you have any next-gen stats for us
Oh my
that
gosh,
you are
I guarantee he does.
particularly excited about? You are the man with the numbers, and I feel like that is something that I cannot provide. Taylor probably could.
Not to his level.
But I don't know that he's got enough room on his,
Sure.
his chart.
Fair.
So we've got to flip that over to you, Will.
Yep. All right. Let's talk about Pat Surtain. Did not allow 50 or more receiving yards in any game last season after allowing multiple in 2023 as we flip again. Bo Nix, this is something Jeffrey Simmons talked about the other day in the locker room. When Bo Nix doesn't have a guy open, he is the quintessential sneaky fast quarterback of the guy that you're like, wow, Bo Nix can run a little bit. Bo Nix last season, 92 carries, 230 yards, 2.9 scrambles per game. Third most in the NFL. You would not have expected that. If you told me that, I would have thought that's not real. I promise you it is. 21 yards per game from scrambles, according to Pro Football Focus. We talk about the hidden yardage and the ability to move the chains on a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 5 even, getting those 6 yards and getting down and protecting himself. I think an element of this game that is a little bit underrated with him. Honestly, we've gone through most of my next-gen stats and my nerd nuggets already. So,
Nerd Nuggets is going to stick.
yes, absolutely. But those are, I think, the main ones. And that really did surprise me, though, on Bo Nix, because you don't think about that with him.
No.
These nuggets are coming in handy, and I did recently go on television with his significant other, and she is terrified about all the nuggets he comes up with late into the night and doesn't get any sleep. But
That's true.
They have come in handy, and I did see some of that sneak ability, if you will, when he was playing for the Auburn Tigers, because I know he wasn't well protected there.
Right.
And he was taking off like crazy when he played for Auburn years ago. But he did it for Oregon as well, and then obviously for the Denver Broncos too. So, yeah, it's something to watch out for in this game is Bo Nix taking off and running the football. I don't have a next-gen stat, but it's next-gen stat.
Next-gen stack.
No,
You
I
had
do have,
that?
I do have snacks.
Next-gen snack.
Can you tell where my head is? But I do have as my shout out to my friend Alyssa Lang, who I do some television work for with ESPN. She calls these Czar bits, little nuggets.
I like it.
Gunnar Helm is playing his first NFL football game 15 minutes from his house.
Isn't that cute?
How cool is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was a great Texas Longhorn, great tight end, and he's had an awesome training camp. And I know that Chig Okonkwo is the big-time tight end for the Titans and has been the last few years. Gunnar Helm, I think, could have a big year as a rookie, and it wouldn't surprise me if it happens really in his hometown. 15 minutes from his house is where he gets to play his first game. That's really cool.
That is very cool. I love moments like that. That's a good bit.
Oh, thank you.
That was
Czar
a great bit. So we've got Nerd Nuggets. We've got Czar Bits.
Yeah.
We've got cookies. What more could you want on this show? How about a key to victory for the Tennessee Titans? Just one key per person.
Okay.
Just one.
Okay.
So
can do that.
you can share with your friends if you have to.
I've got one. You ready?
Yeah.
Go for
Hit
it.
it,
I'm going
Will.
to say staying ahead of the chains.
Okay.
Do not let Vance Joseph tee off on your quarterback on this new offensive line that I think has come a long way, that I think is going to progress even more from weeks 1 through 18. Do yourself some favors as an offense and get yourself in third and manageable. It sounds so simple. It is maybe the cliche key for every football game ever played. I think it's amplified when you're playing the team that led the league in sacks last year, who man blitzes as much as anybody in the NFL. To me, it comes down to that. If the Titans are going to be able to have success in this football game, it's running the ball and staying ahead of the chains. I think those two kind of married together as one big key.
Yeah, good point. And obviously that would go towards penalties too. And we might have some Will Boling next-gen stats about how often this officiating crew calls those penalties on Sunday. But let's stay out of that. I think it's really simple. The Tennessee Titans last year had a disastrous season when it came to the turnover battle. And if the Titans want to start off on the right foot, win the turnover battle, I think it's really simple. I think they need to play clean football on Sunday, and they need to make Bo Nix make a mistake. They need to get a turnover. And I think that if that happens, the Titans really do have a recipe for victory on Sunday. And boy, wouldn't that be a lot of fun.
Ooh.
It'll feel good to have football back on.
Oh, my
Yes.
gosh.
That's going to be great.
Absolutely.
And then it's just going to help us get ready for what is to come on Sunday. The Tennessee Titans take on the Denver Broncos this Sunday. Kickoff for that game is 3:05 Central Time, so check your clocks. It's a little bit different than what we are expecting for the rest of the season. 3:05. Titans Radio is on the air at 2 o'clock Central Time for Titans Countdown. We'll get you all ready for the big game, and then kickoff is at 3:05 Central Time. For Taylor Zarzour, for Will Boling, I'm Amie Wells. Thanking you for joining us for the OTP.